All righty, folks, we are going to talk about something called ARV Pro. It's something that I think might be a consideration if you are looking to flip below the median, folks. And let me be very, very clear. On this channel, you've heard from folks like Jason Pritchard, who just knocked down a $300,000 month in profit, right? Pretty wild to think about. Again, that's because he got focused, laser focused on flipping below the median. Had this conversation with me as a gentleman, Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage. How you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic. And yourself?
I'm doing well. You know, something you and I haven't talked about for a while is how
Hmm.
you can help flippers. Because
Hmm.
again, I think right, the market was slow in Q4, a lot going on.
Right.
I think it is very clear now that at least 90% of the country, based on feedback from yesterday's daily financial news, is hotter today than Q4.
Hmm.
And people in my network are killing it below the median, right? So again, let's
Right.
be very clear on that. The after repair value, so after the remodel, has to be below the median. First time homebuyer stuff is being wildly successful. Velocity
Great.
Mortgage plays in this space. You have helped people in this space for a while, and we haven't talked about it. So why don't we tell
Right.
people what the ARV Pro is? Let's work in the 90% CLTV just to show them
Right.
the flexibility we can do, and
Sure.
let's get into it.
Again, although I've worked very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So, as far as the ARV Pro, that's our fix and flip type product, or basically any property that's in distress, because you could also fix and hold, in the case of the buy and hold strategy. So, basically, we would cover 80% of the purchase price, and typically about 80% of the rehab, so about 80% of the loan to cost overall.
Right.
Um, but the ease of use with the product is where the niche is. Again, no tax return, no pay stub, no W-2, no 12 to 24 months of bank statements, and as far as no DSCR either. So that's where the niche falls into. There's other lenders out there that may have an ARV or fix and flip product, but in most cases there's some sort of metric that they're utilizing to qualify you, either with bank statements, tax returns, pay stubs, all that stuff. So from that standpoint, as well as the 90% CLTV that could be applied to this as well. So in normal cases, you'd come to the table with 20% down, because again, we would cover 80%. But in this case, if the seller has enough equity and they're willing to carry in a short, for a short period of time, 10%, that allows you just have to come in with just 10% down, and maybe, would allow you to participate into more, potential transactions or flips. So that would be, again, the main bullet point I think that would be useful for certain flippers. So.
Yeah, and I want to walk through this with some real numbers, right? So I
Hmm.
did two flips here in the last, I don't know, exited two flips in the last 90 days, purchased them about, I don't know, 5 months ago, 6 months ago,
Right.
what, Halloween, and yeah, so I guess 6 months.
Hmm.
So I buy a house. Let's do the one on Michigan. So I buy a house on Michigan for 200 grand.
Hmm.
ARV at the time of purchase, we think is 300.
Okay.
We think there's $40,000 in remodel cost.
Hmm.
So let's assume in scenario number one that the seller will not carry the 10% second. So I bring this
Okay.
deal to you. I'm a seasoned investor. I've done 50 plus
Right.
flips. Tell
Right.
me what I would tell me what the program looks like in that example.
Okay, so basically, without the seller carrying, you're putting 40,000 down, because that's at 20% of the
Right.
200,000 purchase price.
Yep.
And then we would be covering about 80% of the 40,000 in rehab. So that's 32,000. So for you, you'd have at least that 40,000 down. You should have at least 3 months of reserves to offset the vacancy during the rehab.
Yep.
And then enough money to start the rehab, basically about 20% of the overall rehab, cost. So you're looking at about $8,000,
And then
right?
we'd probably do what is it, three draws? Is it a standard kind of
Correct. It's actually disbursements. And so how this would
disbursement?
work is,
Sorry.
yeah, we don't actually give the full lump of money at the beginning, or you don't ask for draws. It's basically where we would break up the rehab work into three phases.
Okay.
And after each phase is completed, we would send an inspector out to the property to make sure that the work up to that point had been done up to code. Then, the inspector signs off on the work. Then we could,
Okay.
send out the first disbursement. That amount of money would then give you enough to then finish the second phase, starts
Right.
all over again, work's done. We send the inspector out, signs off. We give you the third disbursement.
Okay.
That would then or excuse me, the second disbursement, which would then give you enough to finish the third phase.
Right.
Now we then give you all your money back to make you whole as far as the money that you started with to start the rehab. So the ease of use again is just, no paperwork. You could hold title as an entity, the 90% CLTV, and the loan doesn't report to the credit bureau for the time being, during the rehab. Also, the fact that our products do allow, when you're done with the rehab, to tap into the equity right away without having to wait 12 months. That's the other kind of nuance that I wanted to speak of, because maybe people didn't understand the full picture of how I would want to present the benefit of the product in addition to working with us. Most lenders don't allow you to kind of use that new higher appraised value, at least for 12 months seasoning on the property.
Yeah, they changed that recently from 6 to 12 months. That's game changing if you want to burr something. That's crazy.
Right. So for us, just so long as, again, if you're utilizing our ARV Pro product, we would know exactly what was being done to the property. And at the point of completion, if at that time there's enough sales comps to support your new higher ARV or after rehab value, I mean, whether work took a month or two, doesn't matter. We'll then recognize the new higher appraised value at that point and then do up to 75% LTV cash out. So you're able to kind of flip the properties quicker in the sense of getting your money back to use
and
to the
keep
next,
them,
correct.
So let's just play with this example, because this one is a great example. So we buy for 200, we put 40 in, we sell, it's valued at 300.
Right.
So, and again, I got it done in 45 days, 50 days. So let's call it 2 months between friends. So I could go back to you and do a 75% cash out at 300 grand. Again, this is assuming the numbers are right and all that stuff, right?
Sure.
So 75%, what is that?
That's 225.
So okay. So basically I go to you, I get 225 out, which pays off your original first.
Right.
Which gives me back really gives me back all my money except 15 grand. So I leave 15 grand in the building.
Okay.
In this example, right?
Right.
Because I'm out of pocket 240 all in this example. Okay, I like it because I buy it for 240.
Because again, I mean, you're only putting 10%. Oh, that's right. This is the one that he's not carrying. Correct.
Yeah. So that all changes, right? If the seller, who has, again, the Michigan was a distressed property, I could go to him and say, hey, I'm willing to give you an extra 5 grand on the purchase price. So 205 versus 200. Except you're going to keep 25 grand back as a second, which you will be paid off at point of exit
in 12 months.
Yeah. No worse than 12 months.
12 months, you're correct.
Right. And
so
I
would
you get
probably 90% of your money now.
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of like in the beginning, when as a flipper, you need the payment relief in the beginning when you're acquiring. There's another aspect of this product where you can kick the majority of the cost of this loan on the exit out of it after you use our money to improve the property, increase the value. So not only then would you save additionally during the acquisition of the property when you need it most, that allows you then to kind of like, be a little bit more, not so much as far as putting all your eggs in one basket. So it does allow for less cash on the deal itself, all in.
Yeah, a lot of new flippers coming into this that, they've worked really hard. They got enough scratch to do one product. But this is an example when you get creative and work with a professional like you. Like, again, compare the first example where I got to stroke 40 grand.
Right.
I pay the seller an extra 5 grand, so 205 versus 200. But then he takes back 25 grand. So now I'm only out of pocket 15 or, 20 or whatever it is. That's just a better acceleration. It probably lets me do 2 deals versus 1 deal. There's
actually correct.
But let's be very clear. Stay below the median. First time home buyer homes. This is not something for luxury stuff. Don't get stuck with the white elephant.
No.
But yeah, I think if people are looking at doing this, I think the market is hot. We're going into the summer. If you are careful, if you know your numbers, I think you should reach out to you just to brainstorm, right? That's one thing I love about you. You've even helped me brainstorm kind of deal structures, both enter and exit, because they are both important. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, learn more about this or the other amazing programs you have, how do they do that?
Again, just email me to sdao@velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT. That's 2 A's, just so you can make it past the subject or the firewall. Body of the email, maybe a brief description what you're looking for, city and state of where you're looking to invest would definitely be helpful, just to make sure we lend there. Best phone number to reach you at, mid-FICO score would also be great. And then within 24 or 48 hours, I'm usually in touch.
There you go. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you.